Hey, my name is Alisanyukirwa Joy Matovu. I am the writer, director, and producer of the film Falling Out. Falling Out is about, I think the first time I tried to break it down into like the simplest terms, I came up with marriage, divorce, guns. So, but in simple terms, it's a marital squabble that stems from the fact that the marriage is an arranged marriage. So it's basically an exploration of arranged marriages in a more contemporary Uganda, other than where you'd expect it in, say, a rural setting or maybe an older time, but bringing it into a modern Ugandan society. So, funny thing, Falling Out initially was, when I started writing it, I was making a version of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the original film, the Angelina Jolie one. And so I had written a few scenes that were already an homage to that. And actually the title went on evolving because, of course, it started with maybe like Mr. and Mrs. and it went on evolving. But when the opportunity came to get funding for the film, it was the film that I was working on. So I decided to kind of rush through it, but then also saying what kind of story can I build around this idea that I have, and it just came to me. Because Mr. and Mrs. Smith is about a couple that is having, they are fighting, they are mercenaries, but I'm like, okay, so what could lead to that other than the fact that this couple is they are both mercenaries and working for competing companies. So yeah, I came to the idea somehow of arranged marriages and how that can probably come up. Obviously, I'm not married, so I have no idea, but it was fun to think about it and try and explore how that may go. You know what? I don't know. I don't remember. Must have been a lot of things because obviously, as I've said, the original idea was Mr. and Mrs. Smith. There were some influences from Marriage Story. And again, I was trying to tell a story that can resonate with, that can resonate locally, but then also have an international appeal. So I'm talking about relationships and marriages, but not keeping it just that, well, Ugandans are going to get this, but then also taking it up to a point where I feel like, okay, can an international audience get this story? Can they relate to it? And also, can it resonate to that? So I think it was a merger of so many ideas that came together. So I don't think I can pinpoint the exact. With the cast, we did have a table read. We had an extensive sharing of ideas and opinions, and I like to listen to what the people I'm collaborating with think of the project that we're doing, because we are all creative. And what that does for me is that when I know what I may want this to look like, but when I hear what the actors have to say, and when I heard what they had to say at our table reads, it made me think, and I was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Because as much as I wrote the script and these characters essentially, you would say, are an extension of me, if we just keep it that way, then it's, I think, one dimensional. So when I'm having these conversations with the actors about their characters, I'm not saying that, no, but this character is this. I approach it from the point of, I think this is what this character is doing. If anything is not explicitly in the script that this is what this character is, all of those things are thoughts because we do not know and we are not seeing it on the screen. So it's like, what do you think leads to this? And we have those conversations, and with actors, that's what does it for me. And it's the same thing with the cinematographer, with the production designer. We are having those conversations of, okay, how do we bring about this separation with them? And it's all about conversation. I think that's my best approach. I believe is we get to the script and we have a conversation about it, and we talk about these characters and the world that they're in, and yeah, we see what we come up with. I think it might have been the fact that the first 2 days we were shooting at night, so we had the day on set. And for the actors and the crew that weren't working, for the most part, it was that, okay, have the time and rest, do whatever you need to do so that you are fresh for the night. For me, that was a lot of time to think about, how do I get this? How do I make this more interesting? Specifically, there is a day, there is a shot in the film on the staircase. I spent hours with the grips and the camera operators coming up with ways to shoot that stairwell. And at the end of it, it was a still shot on a tripod. But we spent hours rigging a dolly, getting a gimbal and seeing how this shot is going to move and all that. And we did all that for hours, and then we decided, well, you know what, still shot on a tripod. So I think the challenge was, because of this, it was the time that there was so much time to think about how differently and how creative we can get with these things, which is a good thing. But then sometimes when I get in that zone, it's just too much. Like one of the grips was telling me, we're going to break this camera and we will break the tiles too. And okay, slow down. Yeah, but I guess that's one of them. Maybe something else will come up other than Camila and Michael just being best buddies. I feel like these guys are supposed to hitting each other, like the laughing and everything. But yeah, I'll say I think that the set, it was an amazing experience for me because for the most part, everything, once we were working, everything was flowing. Like everyone was at their best and everyone just brought their best. I think working with Andrew Benon Chibuka, because I've grown up, like watching him and stuff. When we were on set, just to see him work, like that was a treat for me. I guess that's why it stands out. And him and Michael, when they were giving their performances, we did not have to, like go over these things a lot. It was like the tones were there and everything, and we just had to work through the blocking. So I guess that stands out for me. But it was like the entire shoot was just a huge thing for me, because just seeing many young people in the same place and working together to having this one goal, I loved it. I hope the film gets people thinking. That's something that I really want when I'm making films. I want for people to go back and think, and maybe want to watch it another go. I'm not specific on, I want these people to go and this is, a lesson they've learned. I want people to find themselves, to, after watching the film, I want them to go and be like, that was interesting and this is real, and maybe see how, even when they are not, say, particularly this film, it's about marriage, even if they are not married, even if they are not in a relationship, but to just think about human beings. I hope the film makes people get in touch with themselves and the fact that they are humans and what that means to be one, suppose. Visually, that's a huge thing for me. I don't know if we can see this, but visuals are always a thing. This was before the film had been even greenlit for production. This was there, and then once we were, in pre-production, this was made, and some of the artwork that is out there, there is the poster with the handcuffs and everything. Like, all those are just visual ways, even before you watch the film, to kind of give you the tone of it. But one of the things I suppose when you watch the film is the way it is shot. The first, well, not the first scene. I think that would be the third scene. But the first time we actually see this marriage, there is the way the scenes are shot and the distance. Those shots are intentional, that you are able to see the distance between the characters, and it's not just what they're saying. Also, we were very intentional in the living room and the dining room. There is a scene that happens across those. They are differently lit, and one side is warmer than the other, and there is a division in between by a light that is coming from a room. And yeah, I think visually those are some of the things I can pinpoint, but it's a very important for me that movies are visual, because that is what makes it cinema. So I think people should just come and enjoy art. That's a big thing for me. I think the first thing is come to be entertained, watch the film, have fun, and then maybe at the end of it, you pick something and go back and look into yourself. But the big thing is come, have fun, be entertained, support the art that we do, and yeah, it's a good film. It's a good film. I should know. I made it. So I'm telling you guys, I've watched the film. I've watched it without music. I've watched it with music. So come and watch the film.